Hello and welcome to the Sportscast podcast. Today is the pre-event special for the return of the Premier League this weekend. We'll be having a look at favourites for the title, Champions League spots, relegation, going through transfers from teams, and then just having a look forward to the season. Different sort of slight rule changes. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the Sportscast podcast. This is the big one. It's the Premier League pre-event special, the most prestigious league in the world, the one where everybody wants to play. Arguably now they want to play in Saudi, but that generally is after they've played in the Premier League. It kicks off tomorrow night with reigning champions away at former player Vincent Kompany's Burnley. Burnley, after smashing the Championship, are back in the Premier League, signing a couple of Man City players along the way. And then obviously that takes us into Saturday, where the lunchtime kick-off is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest at the Emirates. And then on Sunday, Chelsea-Liverpool is a nice big game to start us off for the season. So this year, the Premier League, the favourites really, two standouts, Manchester City and Arsenal. Can't really see a Man United, Liverpool that have maybe recruited enough to really challenge those two teams. And then relegation, Luton, Sheffield United and Wolves, who lost their manager this week and have replaced him with Gary O'Neill. It's been a very busy transfer window with some massive fees paid for some big players. You've had Arsenal have brought in Havertz from Chelsea, Declan Rice for 105 million from West Ham and Timber from Ajax. Xhaka has gone to Bayer Leverkusen and it's not on yet, but David Raya looks like he's going to be going to Arsenal from Brentford. Initially a loan for the season with an appearance clause to then buy him for 27 million with a total sort of package of about 30 million, which is odd considering Spurs had a 40 million pound bid turned down. So maybe they're looking out for the best interests of the player rather than the monetary gain. Villa have been a bit quiet, brought in Pau Torres from Villarreal for 33 million. Bournemouth themselves have brought in Hamed Traore for 20 million and Justin Kluivert from Roma for 9.5 million. A player that was looking like he was going to be, another generational type player, but as he sort of matured a little bit, he's probably not kicked on as much as he wanted. So come over to the Premier League, you don't know what can happen. Brighton have been busy both ways. They've brought in João Pedro, James Milner. They've lost Mac Allister to Liverpool and Sanchez to Chelsea, which is a bit of a weird one for Chelsea. They lost Mendy over to Saudi, but they've got Kepa. So Sanchez, you'd maybe, is he a first team keeper for Chelsea? Not sure. Kepa's been inconsistent. Burnley have brought in James Trafford from Man City for 19 million. I think that's a little bit of Vincent Kompany pull there to his former club. Chelsea have been probably the busiest with Nkunku, who unfortunately has had knee surgery now, so he looks to be out until the new year. Sanchez, Nicholas Jackson brought in up front. They've lost a number of players, which you could argue that Graham Potter brought in maybe, or even Thomas Tuchel at the start of last year, brought in too many players. They spent quite a few $100 million. The new owners just sort of threw money to try and get it to stick. So I think they've sort of got rid of a lot of that now, recouped some of the money, got players off the wage bill. They've brought in well, and they've got rid of, obviously, Havertz to Arsenal, Kovacic to Man City, which we'll cover with Cities. Loftus-Cheek, Mason Mount, Pulisic has gone to Milan, Ampadu has gone to Leeds, Kalubri, Mendy have gone to, and Kante have gone to Saudi Arabia. Azpilicueta's left after many years at the club, and Aubameyang has gone. Crystal Palace have been pretty quiet, really, and probably not in the best of positions. They've lost Jack Butland to Rangers and Zaha to Galatasaray. Both players leaving for free. Zaha linked for, sort of 20, 30 million last summer with a year left on his contract, and now he's gone for free. Everton, pretty similar. They've brought in Ashley Young on a free. They've lost Mina, Tom Davies and Townsend, who they've just not renewed the contracts for those players, which predominantly have been big squad players over the years. Liverpool have brought in Mac Allister. They've lost Henderson, Firmino, Milner, Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Again, Henderson, Firmino, probably the two big ones. Gone over to Saudi Arabia. Milner on a free to Brighton. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain looks set to sign with Besiktas in Turkey. Man City have brought in Kovacic and Gvardiol. Kovacic from Chelsea, it seems to be a good squad player. Bit of depth there. They got the treble last year, so ensuring they've got enough players to maintain that level of football. And then for me, probably the most exciting one is the Gvardiol signing from Leipzig. Young 21, 22-year-old left-footed defender, for me, is probably the best bit of business anyone's done this window, and probably for the next couple as well. I think he's going to be a fantastic player, and really, really pleased to see him in the Premier League. Man United have brought in Mason Mount from Chelsea. Again, bit more of a squad player type of signing. Onana in goal, replacing the departed David De Gea. Seems a good signing. He's getting a little bit of flack pre-season, getting caught off his line, but we know that that's his style of play, being that sweeper type of player. And then they've brought in Højlund from Atalanta, who I don't know too much about. He's a tall, athletic, Northern European type of player, which there's been one of them in the Premier League for the last 12 months who's done pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see how he's done. They've got rid of Anthony Elanga, Charlie Savage, which I was quite surprised at, considering this year they've put him in to the first team and then sold him to Reading. De Gea has gone on a free, and Phil Jones has been released, and they are still unattached. Newcastle have brought in Harvey Barnes, Sandro Tonali, who Tonali for me would have been the second best signing of the summer. I think he's a fantastic player that they've brought in. Solid sort of central defensive midfielder. So really excited to see how he does. A lot of rumours he's not probably overly happy here, didn't want to leave Milan, things like that. But I think Eddie Howe and the Newcastle team are on the verge of something big. I don't think they'll get a Premier League. I think they'll have a good Champions League run, maybe an FA Cup, but they'll not challenge for the Premier League or the Champions League in the next maybe sort of 3 to 5 years. But he's got an opportunity to be part of something massive going on there. And then they've brought in Livramento from Southampton. They've sort of taken him. A few teams were interested, and they've taken him as well. They've lost Chris Wood and Matty Longstaff, and also probably arguably their second best player last year in St Maximum. A little bit iffy around it. He's gone to Saudi Arabia when Newcastle are owned by the same people, so I think thankfully it's not been a ridiculous fee to help Newcastle get around FFP and things like that. It seems to be all the rumours early on that what they were doing around buying these players for these teams and could loan them back to Newcastle, etc., etc. None of that's happened, which is nice. Notts Forest and Sheffield United haven't really done anything either way. There's talks of maybe Brennan Johnson being linked with Tottenham, but nothing going on at the minute. That just seems to be sort of squad players that have been brought in and let go of there. Spurs have they've made Kulusevski a permanent signing. There was a loan with an option to buy, which they've activated. Maddison from Leicester is a big one. I think he's going to be the creative type of player that they need since they've lost Eriksen. And then Solomon from Turkey. They've got Ashley Phillips, the young centre-half from Blackburn. Probably that's more one for the future. He's only 18. He'll probably go out on loan or something to get a bit of game time. And then Van der Ven from Wolfsburg. Got rid of Harry Winks, Lucas Moura. And then Rondon looks set to go to Leeds. West Ham, they've sold Declan Rice. They've been pretty smart with the money. They're not doing anything too much. Early reports are that Harry Maguire for 30 million looks to be pretty much done to West Ham. So fingers crossed they can get that done. And then I think they're wanting, they are signing Alvarez as well. So get the sort of that Edison Alvarez from Ajax, that centre midfielder, to replace Declan Rice. Wolves, very, very quiet. They've lost the manager. They've brought in Matt Doherty back to the club from Atletico Madrid, and they've sold Ruben Neves. So very busy transfer window. No team's done anything absolutely exceptional. You could argue Chelsea have recruited a couple of good players and got rid of a lot off the wage bill. Spurs look like they could be sort of losing Harry Kane to Bayern Munich with a bid accepted of €100 million this morning. Who knows what's going to happen? Last season, Erling Haaland, he absolutely dominated the scoring. I don't think we'll ever, apart from if he does it again this year, I don't think we'll see anyone do anything like that. So, especially if Harry Kane does go to Bayern Munich, it's not going to leave many 30, 35 goals a season strikers in the Premier League. Liverpool, Spurs pushing for top four. Obviously, last season saw Newcastle get back there with Manchester United behind Man City and Arsenal. I don't think Newcastle will get top four this year because I don't think they've brought in enough to help them with having Champions League this year. So I think we will see Liverpool or Spurs back into that top four. I think it will be Liverpool. And this season sees new rulings around the referees where they are clamping down on time wasting, kicking the ball away, much quicker yellow cards, and also injury time. So I think this last weekend there was something around about 4 out of the 46 EFL games where they was played under 100 minutes. So the games will be going on for much longer, which gives, you'd think, more opportunity to play football, but I think a lot of it is to get rid of the time wasting, get rid of the playing around, and I think, I'm not sure it's the right move. I think there are other areas for the Premier League to improve around VAR and things like that, but it's a long season ahead. We'll keep you up to date week by week with the goings on, and we will see you on Sunday.